Sarah, welcome to the Democratizing SEO podcast. How are you doing today?
Fine, thanks. And you?
I'm very well, thank you. So thank you so much for your time today. Today we're going to talk about Google search and answer engines, which is inspired by the Calicube white paper that you produced with Calicube and Jason Bernard. But just before we get onto the main topic, as I like to do with all my SEO guests, I like to ask how they became an SEO professional, and I'm interested in your story. So, how did you become an SEO professional?
So, fun fact, I thought about this question the entire day and I completely forgot to prepare it. Okay, but anyway, I study finance. So for a long time, I worked in a bank, and as you can imagine, I was not very happy because if not, I wouldn't be in SEO. And then I have two kids. After my first daughter was born, I was like, no way that I will go back to the bank and everything. I was like bored. And then I said, you know what? I will open my own company and I will organize events. And at the end, it turned out then I opened a company with somebody else that was expert in marketing because I had no clue about marketing at all, where we were selling second-hand clothes. Mm-hmm. And then she introduced me to everything that it was online marketing. And from there, the company didn't work out. It was a great idea, but didn't work out. But at least I learned everything related to SEO, and then I started working in SEO.
Awesome. There's always something to take away. There's always a learning, and everything happens, or should I say, there is a reason in everything. And it's awesome you were able to pick up SEO and move along with it. Do you have a favorite area or pillar of SEO?
I would say my pillar is technical SEO because I work in a development company. So most of my time, I will spend it with technical SEO, but I am obviously I've spent so much doing technical SEO that I'm going more in the direction of, more ranking, if you want. So really trying to not just check crawling and indexing, but making sure then you just don't do keyword research, but you do much more to make it really a solid strategy, so then the client can succeed.
I came across something that I found very interesting on your LinkedIn. You talked about the key to SEO success being close collaboration with other departments, teams like developers, designers, etc. Why would you say this is the key to SEO success?
So funny. Okay. I didn't expect that, but yes, I really believe that is the key. First of all, because I do not believe that one person alone or one core of business alone can manage everything. So SEO for me, it's very large, to be honest. Okay. If we speak about tech SEO, sure, I can check the code and I can say, maybe there is this to change. We could improve this. There is a problem, but then I will not implement it now. I'm not a developer. I have no clue how to implement it. Mm-hmm. So I need the support. If we speak about designer and the website structure, I can give some inputs based on what I see, on what I learn through SEO, but then I will not design the website. So SEO can succeed just when you work with everybody else. So for me, that is like the important key. And each time I was not succeeding in working with another department or somebody else, the SEO was never very good. So for me, it became like a mantra, work with the other ones to arrive to the success.
Completely agree. Like I like to say, SEO requires more than SEOs to be successful. And it's funny how a lot of SEOs, we know this saying, and we have a similar mantra of the success of SEO. I mean, without being able to implement it, you're not going to be very successful with SEO. And I found that very interesting because it coincides very nicely from a content point of view with the white paper that you released with Calicube, the white paper called Content Creation for Generative AI. It's a fantastic read, and I think a read that is useful for SEOs and content creators as well. And in terms of having this synergy with SEOs and non-SEOs, this is a very brilliant starting point for non-SEOs, content creators specifically. What is the story behind how this white paper came about?
Oh God, how that happened? So I regularly speak with Jason. Okay, so and then obviously all this fuss and love for the chatbot came. So everybody was testing chatbot. I was testing chatbot, and then when we were discussing, I was like, look, Jason, look the answers. And then we started to analyze the answer. And then we started realizing, oh my God, when you get an answer, you also see, then they give you like, suggested questions. And these suggested questions were like really good suggested question. And then we started thinking a bit through about all this. And then we were like, but content creators are key here to succeed. So you obviously need SEO, but then you need to, as you say, you need to collaborate. So we can drive a bit content creator, but at the end, the chatbot will crawl and take the information from the other website. So you need to produce the information. If you don't give the information, they can't use it. And then from there we started thinking, and then we were like, let's write a white paper about it. And then we went on months and months to write a white paper. We had a lot of people coming in, helping Leanne and many other people, like helping also with the visual and everything. So it was a nice white paper at the end.
It highlights Google's search and answer engines, and it shows users it shows SEOs and non-SEOs how the search engines operate from a unique point of view. How would you define both engines, Google search engine and the answer engine?
So how would I define them? So for me, they are complementary. Okay. So so let me start again. If I think about answer engine, mainly I would think about chatbot, no? And search, I would think about search. But with generative AI, it gets a bit blended, all this distinction. But and this is also why Google speak about generative AI experience. But mainly, I would say, and here, like as we already discussed together, it's a lot of the buyer decision journey. And this was a little bit also about the thinking. Then we realized, okay, this is where we can make the difference. If you have a company, you have to really think through your buyer decision journey, and not stop, for example, with buying, but there is much more after the buying. Right. And you really have to think that through, so then the content creator can really produce content for everything, and you can position yourself as an expert. So if I'm a user, what we have learned from Bing, and Fabrice, what's the name? I forgot the name of the conference. The famous conference, well, not important, but like a show that there is this they gave a graph and which were explaining when people use chatbots and when people use search. And for me, that was like the thing, because that make it clear that when you are in a buyer decision journey and you are maybe in an initial phase where you have questions, then you will go more to the chatbot. But you don't stop with the question. And this is the thing. When you start asking, what is the best, when we discuss, what is the best watch? I don't know, but what is the best luxury watch for diving? I mean, I come from Switzerland. We just speak about watches. So what is the best luxury watch for diving? For example, you get a list. And that for me, it's something, because if you produce a watch and you produce a luxury watch, which are very expensive, and I'm asking you which are the best in a chatbot, and I do not see you, then you have a problem for me, because from there I will go probably directly on search, and I will search more. I will directly go on your brand. So if I see, then I don't know, Jaeger-LeCoultre does, which is a watch brand, by the way, does diving watches, then I will go and I will directly go on search and I will search for their brand. So this is a bit the difference, no? So we have two different examples of intent here. So I have when I have something that I'm not 100% sure, I will go on the chatbot. But again, when I write the best, I'm still in a commercial investigation. So I'm very close to a conversion. I'm not at the beginning.
Yeah.
And here is where you want to work on that, because you want to make sure that your brand is inside, your product are inside, your answer are there.
It's an interesting term you just used, commercial investigation, because when we think of the different search intents, right, we tend to think of it almost in a linear approach, right? So from informational all the way to commercial / transactional, depending on whether you want to consider them one or two different stages. But actually, in the commercial and transactional stages, there is investigation in those stages as well, right? So how do you think the how do you envision the search engines almost supporting users when they're investigating, but in the commercial or transactional phase? Do you think we'll get the Google search, the traditional Google search, or will it be more of the answer search engine that users see?
So there was this famous tweet. I do not remember who did it, sadly, but I remember then Aleda Solis make it popular. Then it was about Nike. It was something about the Nike running shoes, but a specific category of Nike. I don't know if Jordan or whatever. And so obviously the person didn't go on a chatbot because it's very specific that. And they went directly on search. And you have they went on Google, not being on Google. And there was the search generative experience. So what happened? It was impressive. It was impressive because he had more than a quarter of the page that was generated by generative AI with directly the small image, the price, where you could click and directly go to buy, obviously, no? And if you were not directly ready to buy, you did have questions that were related more commercial investigation. But it was it was really done for you to buy. And then you have all this page that was completely dominated by Nike, completely Nike, proper Nike, and not 1,000 of other websites. So sadly, I couldn't click on the shoes because it was just an images, just to see where they were going, links and everything. But I think then the image then was shared, like, which really explain how when you have a general idea or you sort of know what you want, you go to chatbot, and when you know what you want, you go to search. I think then it was correct. It looks really correct in the buyer decision journey to me. Now, we will prove it probably with time, no? Because it's still new. Not everybody have the new generative experience, so it's like it's still new, but it makes sense. It makes completely sense, and it's there. Then I feel then the branding, it's getting more and more important. It was always, I mean, you do SEO, so you know, I mean, most of your query often are branded, like when you search, because like people it depends obviously, but you want then people to recognize your brand. So that is fantastic if they recognize your brand. Obviously, then it depends on the type of website, whatever you want. But branded queries are important. But I feel that now the branded like went to another level because of generative AI.
This branding word is going to be the most prominent words that SEOs use, I reckon, in the months to years to come. How do you envision SEOs will then have to shift I don't want to use the word strategy, but that might be too big of a word, but their approach to maintaining and growing one's traffic in this new Google that we're on the verge of seeing?
So I think that it is a bit what we did in the white paper. It's to say, okay, now, obviously, I mean, I worked with Jason also, he was the branded guy. So, I mean, okay, so obviously for him, brand is everything. But the reason why I worked with him with that is because I strongly believe that he's right on that. And then that is the key. So how I imagine then people have to do, I think then they have to switch a bit priority. So the main step is to reassure search engine. So not search engine, reassure like the machine, like Google machine behind and Bing or whatever other search engine you're using. Because at the end, you want your brand to be recognized. And for example, if you're not in the knowledge panel, in the knowledge graph, you will not have a knowledge panel. I mean, and you know then if you are in the knowledge graph, at least they know you. You have a number, at least. But then it's not enough. It's not enough to have a number. They need to understand who you are. Now, this is a parenthesis. I don't know if I should speak about this parenthesis. Maybe it goes a bit in another direction.
Go for it.
Okay, I go for it. But I was reading this paper on the large language model of Google, and you know, the idea with generative AI, it's then you have a problem. The problem of generative AI is like it's hallucination. It's a big problem. It's a problem for the companies, like for you, for example, if you have a brand. I remember, I can give an example, like it's a bit special. I can reproduce it. Sadly, I sent it to my husband, like, at the beginning of ChatGPT, and then I threw it away, sadly. But it was like, I was asking about brands, and then brands then rebranded without success. And they were like, one brand, it's like a name of a famous animal, which is in IT, and it gave me all a big theory. Then I was like, what? Because it's illegal the way then they call, and I was like, what? And then I was like, Anaconda rebranded? And I did have to go and check in Google, and then it is not true. And then I was like, I asked it at the time to ChatGPT, I said, are you lying? And it was like, maybe yes. The answer. So I was like, okay. But this is just a small example just to illustrate like the problem of hallucination. And it is so real. Then you are like, wow, that happened for sure. No, I just didn't know it. And there was there is this paper. Now I cannot recall exactly the name, but that explains that like they have their model, which obviously generate the information, but then the information are controlled by third-party source. And when you read the paper, they never speak about the knowledge graph, but he really deeply looked, and they are saying, we double check the information, which is the knowledge graph. Right. And so I discussed that with a professor in Australia, and he was like, yes, he looks, he drive me in that direction. He was like, yes, he really looks then is the knowledge graph. So my feeling is, now just thinking logically, I can't prove it, but for me, that give an extra value to the knowledge graph, because not only Google is understanding you, but they can double check the information with the knowledge graph. So you are removing the uncertainty part from it. Now, this is my opinion. I can prove it. It's just an opinion coming from reading the paper. But I think then the value of your brand being in a knowledge graph and on your brand, like getting really understood, is high. Not just because they can use it like also in the background, not just like to show your brand. That is the plus.
I completely agree. It's funny how a number of SEOs who are very much in line with the way Google is evolving, we're saying a similar thing in different ways. So, for example, the way what you just explained is similar to what Jason elaborates. I mean, he's very much forefront of the need to focus more on brand optimization, right? He's called the brand SERP guy for a reason. Now, what he mentions about the left-hand rail being their recommendation engine, Google's recommendation engine, and the right-hand rail, i.e. knowledge panels, knowledge graph, being increasingly more important, is spot on with my thinking as well, because I'm looking at all of this and seeing the way Google is evolving and seeing that they have to evolve because of ChatGPT being Yahoo, but more importantly, because of what users expect from having searched on social media. I think social media is a big influence to Google. When I think of their biggest competitors from a search point of view, it's not Bing, it's not Yahoo. I mean, they have they dominate both search engines combined, right? So their moat, if you like, is still strong compared to those two. But on social media, specifically TikTok, they have a huge problem, because TikTok is not just a social platform, it's a search engine as well. And they're ramping up their search offering. Now, if people on TikTok are searching and they have a certain expectation of results, Google have to respond in order to stay competitive with their search offering. And if you look at the way Google search operates, it's very outdated compared to the way social media operates. Google historically has used a retrieval mode. So they go out there and find information to retrieve information. Whereas on social media, those platforms have users input their information. So if you look at it in terms of facts, social media gather facts better than Google search historically. And Google's offering to combat this is their knowledge vault, is Google knowledge panels, knowledge graph. All of these are important in the new reality that we're very closely approaching. Which service, from your point of view, do you think is driving Google or influencing Google to make all these changes that we're seeing? Because we're seeing a rapid rate of change just in this year alone.
So I love your theory, to be honest. I think then you got the point. I didn't went so deep in understanding why they're doing it, but I think then it makes completely sense what you're saying. Now, why they are doing that? But for sure, there were several reasons. One, it was ChatGPT, obviously, because like they added, like they had something similar, but they did have to accelerate. You had Bing that like were ahead of them for that. I think then you are right also on social media in general. Where people are looking for experience, no? You want to know, depends on the question, but you want to know how was for the other one. You want to know, okay, so they had the same experience than I had. So what happened? Like you have like Quora and many other like platform where you really want to know how you go there because you want to share your experience and know about the other one. And same is TikTok. You want to do something and you want to see it visually. Now you want to know, okay, how is this happening? How can I do that? So I think then you got it. It's you really nail it down correctly. It's like the need to, there is a bit of the personalization need, like the experience, plus the fact that it's easier somehow to go to a chatbot and ask something and have a direct answer than open all my links and read through it. To see, okay, exactly. they can put a little color to it, so they can bring me there, but I'm still opening several links. And a chatbot put everything together in 2 seconds. They gave me the answer. So this look a good driver to change.
Absolutely. When you think of Google traditional search and then their answer engines, you have SGE. You have Perspective. You also have Bard, even Bard, right? These are 3 different, slightly unique products that service one's research phase. But they're different to TikTok, right? Where everything seems to be in one platform. Google traditional search, SGE, Perspective, Bards. I mean, just listing those out, it sounds as though they're 4 different products. Do you think users will be willing to adopt to using Google and using it in these 4 different ways? Or will it be a case of Google services users based on what they want? I.e., if someone searches for, I don't know, Nike shoes, will Google suggest SGE as a search platform? And on another case, will they suggest Perspective, or will they use Bard instead? Or will it be the user who then chooses out of these 4 different ways of doing research?
So I expect then they serve what is best for the user. So if I ask a question where I expect to have like the feedback of the other ones, so perspective is better. So it will depend on which kind of question or what I'm looking for. I expect them to have enough data and to have enough engineers to build something that is personalized to my need. So then they give me what I'm looking based on what I need. And so I expect a little bit of a personalized based on what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I think that will be cleaner. I think if they were to split it into four different websites that users go into, it's splitting their focus from search. And I think this diversification will further impact users using Google to search when they can just go on TikTok and TikTok arranges this for them, which TikTok seems to be doing, personalizing it based on what the user is seeking. Again, based on what they know from the user, which is based on what the user has willingly provided to them, as opposed to Google, right? Historically having to retrieve information rather than, seek information rather than retrieve it by the user providing it. If we were to look at this from a business point of view, looking at it from the marketer's point of view, it seems as though SEO is going to go through a phase of uncertainty, whereas paid search will be, I think, more stable. Would you say there is a case for businesses to invest more in paid search rather than organic search?
Ta-da-da, the question, the complicated question, that one. So I am normally for both. I have to say that I don't know exactly how I look paid with all this generative AI experience, like how, if I can see it properly, if anyway all the first part is more connected to search, so then the pay goes down and then you see it less. That I am not really sure how it's working. Generally speaking, I know then it's good to have both. Like, especially I do a lot of website migration, for example. And sometimes, like, you want in a phase of stabilization, you would like to have both to stabilize a bit. Then if you are changing your name, again, you want to have pay to make like directly people, we are changing the name or think like this. So I like to work with people that are expert in paid because they will help me also stabilize a bit the situation. How it will be in the future, I do not know. To be honest, I focus it a lot on, okay, as a search, what should I do for SEO? But I didn't really focus, okay, how it will be on paid. But I guess then you're right. I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense that pay, I mean, at the end is the main, their main money come from there. So it's not something that they can eliminate, no? So I remember also in Bing testing once, then I was very surprised, but that was like one of the few times that it happened to me. Then I was in the chatbot, I was testing, and I had a lot of links that were like ads. It would literally give me reference to ads inside the chatbot. But that was like maybe a couple of months ago. I do not remember exactly. And I was surprised to see all this reference to ads. Like I had like a complete answer based on ads. But it's not something that I've seen. Did I? Maybe I saw it a couple of other times, but not so often, if you want. So I don't know exactly how the paid is evolving, but it makes sense then if they're evolving SEO, paid is evolving, and the two, as usual, will need to work a bit together.
Mm. Yeah, I think at this point in time, it's important to remind stakeholders that SEO is way, way more than rankings, right? I always say if you have a website, you need SEO. I think it's the one channel that operates functions outside of the marketing department. So, for example, you mentioned migrations. SEO is essential, critical to migrations. Not having SEO involved, especially the bigger your website, the more likely you are to lose visibility. And for example, let's say if a business had sidelined SEO in, I don't know, let's say a year ago, they sidelined SEO. They wouldn't be up to date with what's current, with what's about to come. I mean, at this point, I imagine SEOs are informing stakeholders. There's change coming in SEO in search. We need to be on point to make a change in order for our websites to remain visible and for our traffic to remain stable relatively when these changes happen on Google. If I were to ask you, because SEO and search as a whole is continuing to expand, and you have some SEOs who are saying this is not good, others who are more excited about the change to come. Where do you land on these changes from your personal point of view? Do you think this changes are for the better, or will it be for the worse?
So I always think that everything that he gets for personalization is for the better, no? So it's for sure for the better. I think that is exciting for me because, I mean, at least I can do something different. Because SEO is fun because it evolves, no? Because if it doesn't evolve,
Right.
it becomes a bit boring and then you want to do a career change. So I think then I see the positive in all this. I have to admit you came up with a very, very good point. Then we have to prepare and then we have to discuss with stakeholders. I faced something that was very new for me, which I thought I will go to the stakeholders. I will explain them to all my clients. They will be exactly excited as I am. And they will say something like, yes, Sara, let's work on that. Let's work with the content team and let's rock it. Instead it was more like, yeah, but we still have time. When is this happening? No, but it's already happening. No, but I can see it. And they will go on Google and they will try it and they will and maybe I'm not good in communicating. I don't know, but they see because I explain it, but it's not like the priority.
Yeah.
Because it's not like they're not getting hit yet. Mm-hmm. They're not getting hit enough. And mm-hmm. Anyway, if you are a well-known brand, there are big chances then you are in the chatbot, or so they feel it a little bit less. But I think then it will come back to who refuse to see it and to work mm-hmm. on it. It will come back very strong.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's one of those circumstances where SEOs have to be proactive and inform stakeholders, inform other teams, departments, non-SEOs that, okay, something is brewing. We all have to be, stay current with the changes that are coming and be proactive with our SEO. Otherwise, we'll have to be in a reactive state. And, SEO, you can say traditionally it is a reactive channel, but it doesn't have to be. It's a much better channel when SEOs, when stakeholders, when brands are proactive with their SEO. You work with several brands, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. There are common traits that you see across brands. What is the one thing you wish businesses knew about SEO?
I don't know what I wish, but for sure I would like them to test more. So so be more conscious of, okay, you want to be well known for this. Now let's test it and see where do you stand. And sometimes they will give me like a budget, and then they will say, hey, Sara, please do me a technical audit. Okay. But if I have a limited budget, maybe at the moment, if I can see, then almost all your pages are indexed, then I don't see a big like problem, because I can see it in the Google Search Console. If I know how many pages you have, and I can see then the indexing almost is there, maybe you don't want to spend money in that, but you want to go in adapting and checking, okay, where do I stand? And I have the feeling then I have to fight more for where do you stand. Let's face the truth. Let's face like, what do you think and what the reality is. And then from there we will work. And it's not very easy it's not very easy. And I like, maybe they will give me like maybe one subject, then is like super important, but in the reality they have 10 subjects. And again, it's a matter of priorities. And so for me, we need to switch the priorities. The problem is then what we discussed last year was that. And it's very difficult to make it understand, okay, was that, but who cares? Now we have another problem, which is more important than what we discussed last year. So I think that is a bit difficult. And I don't do SEO for, it's funny, I don't do SEO for the company that I work for. I do it for the clients of the company, not on the company. But this is something that is weird now. But this is something that we are changing. So I hope at least inside of the company, the moment that I can take over that, then we can work properly also on that.
The joys of being an SEO, it's one of those roles where it's so vast, so wide. There are so many areas to cover, including educating non-SEOs, because the more they know, the more they can make better decisions with SEO and or about SEO, decisions that impact SEO. Lastly, Sarah, if SEOs are heroes, what would be your superpower?
Relationship. I think then it's sometimes my feeling is that technical skills are a little bit overrated in SEO. Relationship are more important, because you obtain more with the relationship, with the connection with the people, and supporting each other. And for example, as we say at the beginning, with developers, content, and everybody else. So I would think that my superpower is probably the capacity of creating relationships.
It's a wonderful superpower to have indeed. Some would say marketing is about communication, and communication is the key to success. I mean, there's this saying that all marketing problems, I should say, comes down to messaging, one's messaging. And messaging is all about communication. So if you're able to communicate both on and for a website and internally, i.e. the different teams, individuals, stakeholders, that work on a website and for a website, you'll be doing very well with SEO. So yes, the relationship is a brilliant superpower to have. Sarah,
And
thank you
your
so much for
superpower is?
my superpower. I would say
Yeah.
it's around education. My superpower is educating non-SEOs about SEO and doing it in a non-technical, fun way. It's similar to yours in terms of building relationships. For me, education is the center of everything. And the more one's able to educate and spread awareness, the better one is able to achieve great success with SEO. Because like I said, it's far more than a marketing channel. Within marketing alone, there is so much to do, right? Just think of outside marketing, developers, designers, hell, even customer service or sales, right? These are all areas that SEO can impact and areas that impact SEO. So the more we're able to educate these areas about SEO, the better we're able to see great results with the channel. So yeah, my superpower will be SEO education.
Great superpower.
Sarah, thank you so much for your time today. Is there anything you'd like to shout out or promote?
Not really. I just wanted to say thank to you so much for having me. About promoting what? Okay, can I speak about
Or brave about?
SEO North Switzerland? Brag
Yeah,
about? Okay,
absolutely.
so
Absolutely.
I have an association with somebody else, and we try to, as you do, try to promote SEO and make it like accessible for everybody. So we do that together. And yeah, that's like the name is SEO North Switzerland. We do online and offline. So if you want to check something online, people are more than welcome.
What is the website or where people can find it?
That is, sorry, is a meetup. Okay, I completely forgot that. Wait. Okay, listen. I share
Or maybe
it. It's
they should
like,
just Google it. They
yeah,
should just
go
Google it.
SEO
SEO.
Nord Switzerland. Google it and you will find it. And if you want to speak with me, you can find me on LinkedIn, and I work at Liip. So there is also the LEEP. So you can find me easily if you have any question.
Awesome. I'll have your LinkedIn in the description so people can get in touch with you. Sarah, thank you so much for your time. Have a brilliant day. I enjoyed this conversation. I'm sure we'll catch up again another time.
Thank you so much for having me. You're fantastic.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Cheers. Have a brilliant day. Bye now.